All right, so this first round is Hornady FTX. I'm just going to shift right slightly.
Impact.
Okay, that's
Right
Hornady
between
FTX.
The right, top and bottom.
Okay.
The left.
Now I'm going with Civil Defense 223.
Impact.
Okay. Now I'm going with M855. I'll do it at the same time. Oh wait, he got it. Okay. So let's start taking them off and see what we can find. All right.
93.
It's 193.
That one that's ripped
Here,
below it,
Yeah,
that's
what's
the
that?
FP or FTX.
Hornady
The
FTX.
Yep.
So that's the next one that got the most penetration.
Yeah, that shit was still
Okay, but
low.
believe it or not, my actual point of this test was to see what didn't over penetrate. So, because I'm trying to figure out what rounds are best to use in security or law enforcement. So I don't want a round that's going to go through the bad guy and everybody else. I think it's in this.
Yep.
Now go.
Does that mean like go-go?
Yes.
Or like, oh, okay.
It's all good.
All right, so, all right, folks. So we shot 4 different rounds today, all from an M16A4 20-inch barrel. So we use a 20-inch barrel because it's the most amount of velocity that we could possibly get out of these rounds. Because the longer the barrel, the more the velocity that we're going to get out of it. So what we were testing today is we shot junk mail. We took a bunch of junk mail and we bound it together and we shot it. What we were looking for was the penetration abilities, both as a negative and as a benefit, because AR-15 has a tendency to over-penetrate anyway. So we wanted to figure out what rounds would be best for law enforcement and security to use and for self-defense, and what rounds might be better for targets on which we want penetration. So we'll start with the round that went the furthest. The round that went the furthest was the M193. So that's your standard round that you're probably shooting at the range every day. It's just an FMJ. So that actually had the deepest penetration in our very scientific junk mail test. What the round looked like afterwards that's the projectile afterwards. Okay, so essentially no expansion, the lead core completely is disrupted and the jacket is still together. The next round that had the most penetration was the M855, and the M855 is a steel core, mild steel core, and usually has a green tip to it. This is what was left of that round, so you'll actually see that the jacket is intact on the front of the bullet, and the steel core penetrator is still inside of the head of it, completely undisrupted. A thing of note for that one had a real deviation from its original hit of angle. So the rest of the rounds were found in the junk mail, parallel to where they were shot. That round actually arced up upon impact with the target. The next deepest round was the civil defense round. So that's a 223, and you'll see the crazy shape that it left in there. And you can see that cylinder that's talked about. So civil defense is one of the fastest bullets. Their feet per second is something around 2,900 feet per second advertised. And so that's supposed to give you good expansion, good penetration. And in their handgun ammunition, they state that it will have an effect on soft ballistic armor. I don't know whether that is true or not true, or how this would be dealing with that, because we didn't test that here today. But we did find that it did cut down on the penetration. So this did not penetrate as deeply as M855 or M193, and it did retain that cylinder in the back The rest of it did deform, transferring the energy. And then the round that traveled the least amount of distance was the Hornady FTX. And that's a hollow point that's filled with that plastic FTX tip. And that's a 223. And that's how that round looked, what was left of the core of it afterwards. I mean, there's really not much left of that mass. Completely broke up into that star-shaped pattern and peeled back, just like you would expect a hollow point to do. So what did we learn here today? Well, we learned that a hollow point will have the least amount of penetration out of all of these rounds. In fact, the round that had the most amount of penetration was the FMJ. So what does that tell us? For self-defense, if we're using an AR-15 and we're using FMJ, or the rounds that we would shoot at the range, the M193, there's a chance that we might get over penetration on the subject. Now, if penetration is what we're looking for, great. If we're concerned about our backdrop, if we're concerned about, not going through multiple neighbors' houses or different things like that, we'd actually want to pick the round with the least amount of penetration out of all of this, which was the Hornady FTX. And again, that's a 223. I like that it's a hollow point, but it's a filled-in hollow point, which cuts down on jamming issues in a semi-automatic rifle. So I think that this really proved something we kind of already knew, which was that hollow points are probably the best call for self-defense, including in a long gun format such as an AR-15. I'm Matt Diaz, General Manager of Shooting Doors. Thanks very much.